There comes a moment in every human life when something shifts, not outside, but inside. A moment when you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what hat is this trying to teach me? That single change in perspective can transform your entire life. Most people are waiting for the right opportunity, the right support, the right timing, the right confidence. But here is the truth. Clarity doesn't come before action. Clarity comes because of action. You do not find your purpose by thinking about it. You find it by moving, trying, falling, learning, and rising again. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not disqualified. Your journey is not supposed to look like anyone else's. Comparison is the fastest way to disconnect from your calling. The moment you start honoring your own path is the moment your power begins to return. Many of you have survived things you never talk about. You've carried pain quietly. You've smiled when your heart was heavy. You've shown up when you felt empty. Don't overlook that strength. What you survived did not come to break you. It came to introduce you to yourself. Your resilience is proof of your capacity. Failure is not a stop sign, it is direction. Every disappointment carries data. Every setback carries wisdom. When something doesn't work out, it is not proof that you are incapable. It is proof that you are in progress. Life is not judging you, life is shaping you. You don't need to become someone else to live a powerful life. You need to become more fully yourself. The world does not need another copy. It needs your voice, your story of seeing, your way of caring, your way of building. Authenticity is not a weakness. It is a force. Listen closely to what energizes you. Pay attention to what moves your heart. Notice what you can do for hours without being forced. Those are not random preferences. They are clues. Your life leaves signals. Your job is to notice them. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Forgive yourself for what you tolerated. Forgive yourself for the time you thought you were small. Growth begins the moment shame ends. You cannot step into a bigger future while punishing your past. Gratitude is not denial of struggle. It is recognition of strength. When you learn to say, this is hard, and I am still thankful, you unlock a deeper level of peace. Gratitude turns survival into meaning. And here is the shift that changes everything. Your life is not happening to you. It is responding to you. Your choices, your habits, your courage, your honesty. These are shaping your experience every day. When you change your inner world, your outer world begins to reorganize. So stand up for your own life. Speak truthfully. Choose deliberately. Love boldly. Start before you feel ready. And remember, the smallest step taken with belief is more powerful than the biggest plan without action. After today, don't just live awake. Perspective is the invisible force that shapes how you experience every event, every challenge, every opportunity in your life. And most people underestimate how powerful it truly is. Two people can walk through the same storm, face the same loss, experience the same rejection, and yet come out with completely different outcomes. Not because the situation changed, but because their perspective did. What you believe about what happens to you determines what happens next. Your interpretation becomes your direction becomes your behavior, and your behavior becomes your destiny. When something goes wrong, the natural reaction is to ask, why is this happening to me? And while that question feels honest, it often traps you in helplessness, blame, and emotional paralysis. It centers pain without creating progress. But the moment you shift the question to, what is this trying to teach me? What can I build from this? How can I respond better? You step into power. You move from being a passive receiver of events to an active shaper of outcomes. That small mental shift is not motivational language. It is practical transformation. Perspective does not deny difficulty, it reframes it. It says, this is hard, this hurts, this is unfair, and still asks, what now, what next, what is within my control. Power is not pretending everything is fine. Power is deciding that even when things are not fine, you will respond with intention, with courage, with learning. Your control may be limited, but your response is always available, and response is where personal power lives. Many breakthroughs are born from reframing. Rejection becomes redirection. Delay becomes preparation. Failure becomes feedback. Criticism becomes refinement. The event remains the same, but the meaning changes, and meaning is what drives momentum. If you see every obstacle as proof that you should stop, you will stop. If you see every obstacle as proof that you are being strengthened, you will continue. The lens decides the journey. A powerful perspective also protects your emotional energy. When you assume every setback is personal, every closed door is an insult, every disagreement is an attack, you exhaust yourself emotionally. But when you understand that life is complex, people are imperfect, timing matters, and growth is non-linear, you create emotional stability. You stop reacting to everything and you start choosing your reactions carefully, calmly, consciously. Gratitude is one of the strongest tools for building perspective because it trains the mind to see resources instead of only lacks, progress instead of only gaps, lessons instead of only losses. Gratitude does not make problems disappear, but it prevents problems from defining your entire reality. It balances your inner narrative, and a balanced narrative leads to better decisions. Another dimension of perspective is self-view. If you see yourself as weak, unlucky, incapable, behind, you will hesitate, shrink, and withdraw. If you see yourself as learning, growing, adapting, becoming, you will try again, speak up, and move forward. Identity follows perspective, and performance follows identity. The story you tell yourself about yourself quietly controls your level of effort and resilience. Perspective, it also stretches time. What feels unbearable today may become meaningful tomorrow. Many experiences that once felt like endings later reveal themselves as turning points. When you train yourself to say, this moment is not the whole story, you create psychological endurance. You give yourself permission to keep going long enough for meaning to emerge. So perspective is not positive thinking alone. It is powerful thinking, grounded thinking, forward moving thinking. It asks better questions. It searches for usable truth. It converts pain into instruction. Change your perspective and you change your emotional state, your decisions, your habits, your results. When perspective shifts, possibility expands. And when possibility expands, most people misunderstand struggle. They see it as a sign that something is wrong with their life, their path, or their worth, but struggle is not a punishment. It is preparation. Growth rarely arrives wrapped in comfort, ease, and certainty. More often it comes disguised as pressure, delay, rejection, confusion, and repeated effort. What feels like resistance is often resistance training for your character, your discipline, your emotional strength, and your clarity of purpose. When life becomes difficult, the first emotional response is often self-doubt. Why is this happening? What did I do wrong? Why is it easier for others? But struggle is not evidence that you are failing. It is evidence that you are stretching beyond your current limits. Just as muscles grow through tension, human capacity grows through challenge. Without resistance, there is no strengthening. Without difficulty, there is no depth. Struggles teach lessons that success cannot teach. Success can make you comfortable, but struggle makes you aware. It forces reflection, adjustment, humility, and creativity. When resources are limited, you learn resourcefulness. When support is absent, you learn self-reliance. When doors close, you learn to build your own entrance. These abilities are not developed in easy seasons. They are forged in demanding ones. Pain also clarifies priorities. In comfortable times, distractions multiply, focus weakens, and purpose blurs. But during hardship, what truly matters becomes obvious. You discover who stands with you, what values guide you, what dreams are worth sacrifice. Struggle removes illusions illusions and reveals truth. And truth is a powerful foundation for long-term success. Another hidden gift inside struggle is emotional endurance. The first disappointment feels unbearable. The first rejection feels personal. The first failure feels final. But each time you rise again, your emotional recovery becomes faster and stronger. You build resilience, and resilience is more valuable than talent alone. Talent may open a door, but resilience keeps you walking when the path becomes steep, uncertain, and lonely. Struggle also reshapes identity. When you overcome something you once thought you could not survive, your self-image changes. You stop seeing yourself as fragile and start seeing yourself as capable. Confidence built from comfort is weak, but confidence built from survival is unshakable. You don't just believe you know you can because you already did. It is important to understand that struggle is not a signal to quit automatically. It is a signal to evaluate, adapt, and grow. Not every hard path is the right path, but every hard experience contains useful information. Ask better questions during difficulty. What skill is this building? What habit must change? What boundary must be set? What mindset must evolve? When you treat hardship as a classroom instead of a courtroom, learning replaces shame. Comparison makes struggle feel heavier. When you measure your behind the scenes against someone else's highlight reel, your journey feels unfair, but you do not see their full story, their sacrifices, their silent battles. Your path is customized, your timing is specific, your lessons are personal. Respect your process even when it looks slower than others. Struggle also develops compassion. People who have faced difficulty tend to become more understanding, more patient, more human with others. Hardship softens judgment and deepens empathy. It connects you to people, not separates you from them. That emotional intelligence becomes a leadership strength later in life. Do not label your hard seasons as wasted years. They are training years, building years, strengthening years. Seeds grow underground before they appear above ground. Progress is often invisible before it is undeniable. Just because results are not visible yet does not mean transformation is not happening. So when you face resistance, pressure, and delay, do not immediately assume you are being blocked. You may be being built. Training is rarely comfortable, rarely quick, rarely celebrated in the moment, but it creates capacity for the opportunities ahead. Your struggles are not proof that you are off track. They are proof that you are in development, in refinement, in preparation, and preparation is power. Authenticity is not just about being honest with others. It is about being honest with yourself first, and that honesty becomes one of the greatest advantages you can ever develop. In a world full of comparison, imitation, trends, and pressure to fit in, choosing to be real is a powerful act. Many people spend years trying to become acceptable, impressive, or approved, but lose connection with who they truly are. The cost of pretending is exhaustion, confusion, and inner conflict, while the reward of authenticity is clarity, energy, and inner peace. When you are authentic, your decisions become simpler because you are no longer choosing based on applause, fear, or social pressure. You are choosing based on alignment. Alignment means your actions match your values, your words match your beliefs, your goals, match your inner calling. That alignment creates confidence, and confidence built on truth is stable, not fragile. You don't have to remember who you pretended to be yesterday because you are the same person everywhere. Many people believe they must copy successful personalities to succeed, but imitation may create short-term acceptance, not long-term impact. Real influence comes from originality, from lived experience, from a voice shaped by truth. People connect with real stories, real emotion, real struggle, real growth. Perfection creates distance. Authenticity creates connection. When you speak from lived truth, people feel it, trust it, and remember it. Authenticity also increases performance. When you try to operate as someone you are not, your mental energy is divided, part of you is doing the task, part of you is managing the mask. That split focus reduces creativity and courage. But when you show up as yourself, your energy is fully available. You take clearer risks, express better ideas, and handle feedback maturity because your identity is not dependent on approval. Another strength of authenticity is boundaries. When you know who you are, you know what is not for you. You say no without guilt, yes without fear, and maybe without pressure. You stop overcommitting just to be liked. You stop agreeing just to avoid conflict. You stop shrinking just to be accepted. Boundaries are not rejection of others. They are protection of self-respect, and self-respect is essential for sustainable success. Authenticity does not mean oversharing everything. It means not lying about who you are. It means you don't fake passions, you don't feel, you don't chase goals, you don't believe in, you don't maintain relationships that require you to be smaller than you are. It is quiet truthfulness, consistent behavior, grounded identity. It is strength without performance. Fear often blocks authenticity. Fear of judgment, rejection, criticism, misunderstanding. But consider the cost of hiding. You may be accepted for someone you are not and rejected as someone you never were. True belonging only happens when the real you is present. Rejection of the real you is painful, but acceptance of a fake version is empty. Depth requires honesty. Your differences are not weaknesses, they are signals. The way you think, the way you communicate, the way you solve problems, the way you care, these are not accidents, they are assets. Skills can be learned, strategies can be copied, but perspective is personal. Your lived experience gives you a unique lens, and that lens can create unique solutions and ideas. Diversity of thought drives innovation, and authenticity protects that diversity. Authenticity also builds trust over time. People may doubt your talent at first, but they trust consistency. When your behavior matches your values repeatedly, credibility grows. Trust is not built through image, it is built through integrity. And integrity is authenticity in action, over time, under pressure, without audience. Living authentically requires courage, patience, and self-reflection. You must regularly ask, is this choice true to me? Is this goal mine? Is this voice honest? Self-awareness is the foundation. The more you understand your strengths, limits, motivations, and values, the easier authenticity becomes. In the long run, authenticity is not a risk. It is a competitive advantage. Trends change, expectations change, systems change, but truth remains stable. When you build your life and work on what is real, you create something durable, meaningful, and deeply impactful. You do not need to become more like others to win. You need to become more fully yourself, consistently, courageously, and without apology. Many people wait for clarity before they act. They want certainty before commitment, confidence before movement, and guarantees before effort. But life rarely works in that order. Clarity is not something you sit and receive. It is something you build through motion. Action is the engine of understanding, and without action, even the best intentions remain foggy ideas. You don't think your way into clarity alone. You move your way into it step by step, decision by decision, attempt by attempt. Overthinking feels productive, but often it is just delayed fear. The mind keeps searching for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect readiness, and while it searches, time moves. Meanwhile, the person who takes imperfect action begins learning in real time. Experience teaches faster than imagination. Doing reveals what planning cannot. When you act, you gather feedback, results, reactions, obstacles, adjustments, and that information sharpens your direction. Uncertainty is not a signal to stop. It is a normal condition at the beginning of every meaningful journey. No one starts fully ready. Readiness is developed in the process, not before it. The first step feels awkward. The first attempt feels small. The first version feels incomplete. And that is not failure, that is formation. Every expert you admire once produced beginner-level work, but they did not wait to feel like an expert before starting. Action reduces fear because fear grows best in stillness. When you delay, your mind multiplies risks, exaggerates consequences, and invents worst-case outcomes. When you move, reality replaces imagination. You discover that some fears were inflated, some risks were manageable, some barriers were movable. Momentum weakens anxiety. Even small actions create psychological progress, and progress builds courage. Another truth is that direction becomes visible only after movement begins. Like driving at night, you cannot see the entire road, but your headlights show enough for the next stretch. After you move forward, more becomes visible. Waiting to see the whole path keeps you parked forever. Trust the next visible step. Take it, then reassess, then take the next one. Clarity is sequential, not simultaneous. Action also builds self-trust. Each time you do what you said you would do, even in small matters, you strengthen your inner credibility. You start believing your own promises. That self-trust becomes a powerful motivator because discipline no longer feels like punishment. It feels like alignment. You become someone who follows through, adjusts, and continues. Identity is shaped by repeated behavior, not repeated intention. Mistakes made through action are more valuable than perfect plans never tested. A failed attempt gives specific lessons. What worked didn't, what to change, what to keep. No attempt gives nothing. Feedback is the tuition you pay for mastery. When you normalize correction, you remove the shame from learning. Growth speeds up when mistakes become data, not identity. Action does not always mean giant leaps. It often means structured small steps, done consistently, done consciously. One call made, one page written, one skill practiced, one conversation started, one habit improved. Small repeated actions compound into major change. Waiting for motivation to take big action is unreliable, but committing to small, consistent action is sustainable. Perfectionism often disguises itself as high standards, but in reality, it often blocks action. It says, improve more before starting, prepare more before sharing, refine more before launching, and many dreams expire in preparation. Excellence is built through iteration, not isolation. Release version 1, learn, improve, release version 2. Progress is built publicly and practically. Action also reveals true desire. Many goals sound exciting in imagination, but lose appeal in practice. That discovery is useful, not disappointing. It prevents you from investing years in the wrong direction. Trying something teaches you whether it is truly yours. Experience filters fantasy into truth. So stop negotiating endlessly with your starting point. Begin where you are, with what you have, with what you know today. Movement will teach you more than waiting ever will. Take the step, review the result, adjust the method, continue forward. Action produces evidence. Evidence produces clarity. Clarity produces confidence. You don't need full clarity to start. You need enough courage to move. And movement will show you the way, practically, powerfully. Everything you've heard comes down to one transforming truth. Your life begins to change the moment you change how you see it, how you interpret it, and how you respond to it. Perspective gives you power, struggle gives you strength, authenticity gives you direction, and action gives you clarity. These are not motivational phrases, they are practical tools, usable every day, in every season, under every condition. You are not stuck, you are in process. You are not broken, you are being built. You are not behind, you are becoming ready. When you stop labeling your challenges as punishment and start recognizing them as preparation, your energy shifts from resistance to growth. When you stop copying others and start honoring your own truth, your confidence becomes stable. When you stop waiting for perfect clarity and start taking intentional action, your path begins to reveal itself. Do not underestimate small decisions, small steps, small mindset shifts, because transformation rarely arrives as one giant moment. It arrives as consistent daily choices. Choose better questions, choose braver actions, choose honest self-reflection, choose forward movement. Progress is not loud at first, but it is powerful over time. From this point forward, refuse to live on autopilot, refuse to shrink your voice, refuse to delay your beginning. Stand, ignore your responsibility, your ability, your possibility. You have more influence over your direction than you think, and more resilience than you realize. After this, don't just return to your routine. Return with awareness, with courage, with intention. And when you do, you truly won't see your life the same way again.